Chancellor, your leadership at this great university has been extraordinary. He's so humble, name a building after him. He doesn't even like to say the name of the building. That's how humble he is. But we're grateful for your leadership. And we're so grateful for our HBCUs all over North Carolina. We've been having record job growth of good paying jobs. And you know, two of my great selling points, one is that our state has more four-year HBCUs than any other state in the country. And two, this university, right here, North Carolina A&T State University, graduates more black engineers than any other institution in the country. And when I talk to these CEOs, who now more and more are valuing diversity in their workforce because they see that it makes them better and increases the bottom line, they get really interested at the kind of strong, smart, diverse workforce that can come from these great universities. So I'm happy that we're here today to have this Drive Task Force Summit and to talk about things that we can do moving forward. I first want to say happy Juneteenth and Father's Day weekend coming up to all of you. I don't think there's any better way to start a weekend than to talk about the issues that you are going to engage in today. I want to take a moment to recognize, I don't know if Jill Camnitz came from the Board of Education. Jill, are you here yet? And I know a number of members of our Drive Task Force are here. I want to thank you for your service. Dr. Graham, thank you for your leadership. I know that we have spent time talking about the direction of this task force, and I appreciate it. I want to thank a lot of the members of my staff. We dedicated a lot of staff time and resources to this because we know how important it is. And Dyson Brisson, who has been my teacher advisor, is sick today and knew he should not come. So he's really disappointed because he's been working on this. But we also have Jeff Coltrane and Caroline Sullivan and Jess Engler and Morgan Crawford and Christina Espana and Andrea DeSantis. They've all been working on this, and I want to appreciate, let them know how much I appreciate them, along with Dr. Graham and the task force members. You know, education is critical for opportunity. And we know that when our education workforce is diverse, all of our students do better. We also know that our student population is increasing in diversity, but we aren't seeing the corresponding increase in the educator workforce. So not only are we going to be working today about trying to get teachers into the profession, which is critically important. That pipeline we know is in trouble. And I am so deeply grateful for my public school education, grateful for the public school education that my three daughters got, grateful that my mom was a public school teacher, and even to this day I have people coming up to me and telling me, I want to pay you a compliment, and I'll say, what is it? And they'll say, your mom was the best teacher that I ever had. And I'm so grateful for my educators that I had. So glad that we're emerging from this pandemic, because I am now back in the public schools. And if any of you have been with me when I've been into a public school, you see my eyes light up, you see me smile, you see me talking to teachers and to students, because people, yes, we need to work to make education better and our public schools better. We have a lot that we need to invest. We have a constitutional duty to our children to give them a sound education, sound basic education, every one of them. But for people who stand outside and criticize our public schools, go into one. Look at what's happening in the classroom. See the positive interactions
the learning, everything that's happening in the school, a nourishing meal, help from a counselor, guidance on how to get substance use disorder treatment. So many good things are happening in our public schools. And so we need to be bringing forth those good things. I'll be spending time over the next few months going to our public schools and highlighting the positive things that we're seeing in our public schools and working to attract more people into the education profession, which we need. Now, back in December of 2019, we knew we had this challenge. We needed more teachers. We needed more diverse teachers. We wanted them to be good. And in fact, there's two things that we could do to make education the greatest thing in the world. A great teacher in every classroom and a great principal at every school. Those are two things. We talk about policy and all the things we need to do. Those are two things that can help us be absolutely great. But we knew we had these challenges, so we formed this task force. Never been done in North Carolina before. Remember walking, some of you were there at North Carolina State University when we started this. Such excitement that was there. President Obama's former Education Secretary, John King, came. We launched this effort, and just you could feel the momentum in the room. Very exciting. 3 months later, COVID hits. Did it stop this task force? It did not. It stopped the personal interactions that are really important and that they're glad to get back to, because I've talked to some of you about it. But the work continued. And the January 2021 report, in the middle of COVID, is one of the best things you can read. 10 recommendations, 46 strategies. We know we need to invest. We know we need to pay our educators more. We know we need better training. We know we need master's pay. And in fact, one of the reasons I'm going to scoot out of here right after I talk is I'm going back to Raleigh, negotiating the budget right now. I don't want to miss anything, okay? So I know how important it is. But as I read this report, what I was not as familiar with, and which really opened my eyes, were the special challenges that teachers of color face in the classroom. The expectations, the burdens, the extra duties, the focus. Oftentimes, teachers of color are a minority of the faculty at the school. So many times, people look to them to deal with special issues, with students of color, with mentoring faculty. And it's a lot of pressure that they face. And those expectations really opened my eyes. Wow, this is something that everybody needs to know about. This is something that the faculty at schools need to know about. And so I challenge, I know most everybody in this room has read it, but when I'm in conversations with teacher workforce, and particularly about diversity with people, I say, go and read the Drive Task Force January 2021 report. I guarantee you there will be things in there that you had not even thought about it, even though your intentions are great. And I am so grateful for the insight and the recommendations to deal with these things that you find in this task force. But the ideas and the recommendations is not enough. We need action. And it's one of the reasons why we're doing this next summit, and one of the reasons why we are extending this task force. We're already seeing it. Well, one of the recommendations is that we need more scholarship money. We need more encouragement to students to get into the education profession. Finally, one of the things that I've loved has been the Teaching Fellows program, but it didn't do enough to attract minority students to become teachers, and now we're focusing more on that. Teaching Fellows has now been expanded to Fayetteville State, here at North Carolina A&T State University, UNC Pembroke. We need to find more ways to get scholarship money to students. And then we've got North Carolina Central. Christy, I'm talking about North Carolina Central, just so you know. The Marathon Teaching Institute there has been set up to increase male minority educators, which we know we need more of. So I want you to think about ways like this that are actionable, things that we believe that we can do. And we know how frustrating North Carolina education governance is. We know with separately elected governor, separately elected superintendent, appointed state school board, legislature. We know that it is a disjointed thing, but we can use it to our advantage because we can find different entry points to get a lot of these things done. So we all know that students do better when, well, first I will say this, we want a strong, diverse workforce, and it starts when students walk into the classroom. Education is the key to opportunity and a successful life for North Carolinians. So what I want us to be in North Carolina is the best that we can be. I would love to stay here and listen to this panel from these 2 college students and 1 high school student that I just met at this table. Got to head back to Raleigh, but I'm looking forward to reading what you guys come up with. I know it's Friday, but I want you to stay here, and I want you to work hard, and I want to put these great minds to this task of making sure that education is the most equitable, the best, the strongest in North Carolina is in the entire country. Thank you guys for letting me spend some time.